So what we've got here, tool groupies, is an 18-piece standard metric combination wrench set. This is raised panel. You got 9-piece standard, 1/4 inch all the way up to 3/4, no skips in between. Then you get 9 metric, 6, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 17, and 18. So it does skip the traditional sizes that you see in most tool sets that are designed this way and this style of case. So I think it's the Ultra Steel name brand. If you go to O'Reilly's, Duralast has got their own version. Hyper Tough has their own version. Pittsburgh from Harbor Freight. Bob Smart down there at Tractor Supply. And they got them in the Real Work Tool section down there at Roll King. Every store you go in, Menards, whoever it is, they've got these types of tools in a case that you can buy. Now, this one is a blast from the past that we're going to be looking at here today. No, this is the Power Kraft, but most people call it Power Kraft because that's what's die stamped onto the wrenches. Now, this particular company first was available on the market on April 1st of 1998. As of 2018, it no longer existed. But most of the tools under this particular name brand, it's just like the stuff you see in the $5 bin. $5 pliers, side cutters, things like that. Cheap quality tool, different kind of name brand. Now originally this did come with a lifetime warranty. The problem is half the stores that had them with a lifetime warranty, they didn't have the tools for you to exchange them with. These pieces are made in India from chrome vanadium steel with a chrome plating on them. Now this particular set is color coded, but I've done that so that basically when you looked at this particular wrench set, you're going to know exactly what it is as opposed to other wrenches in the general location. This set originally come with die stamped indicators on it telling you the size, drop forged steel, and the name brand right there in the middle of it. You can see Power Kraft die stamped in the middle of it, but it's not all of them. If you look down here at the 3/8, you're going to see that there's laser etching right there on the 3/8 and all the way up here on the 11/16. It also has laser indicators. They couldn't really make up their mind what they wanted to do. Was they going to die stamp it, laser indicators? They really didn't know, so they did both, I guess. Now, the reason I'm talking about these tools here today is in part because these were available back in 1998. It is a glimpse into the past showing you what tool brands and tool quality used to look like a decade or so ago. Very poor quality tools. And a lot of what Harbor Freight had under the Pittsburgh line was just like what you're looking at right here, pure junk. If you have these tools, comment in the description box below. If you used to have them, let us know your thoughts and opinions on them. Now this is one of those sets that was given to me as a gift, and it was one of those, it's the thought that counts gifts. It's one of those type deals, gift tools, and what I like to call job specific tools. That I mean, if you have a specific job you need to do, you might turn a fastener once in a blue moon on a specific thing, you leave these wrenches right there, you can do that one particular job. They're not going to be everyday users. They're not going to be good for do-it-yourself repairs all the time. They're going to really be good for light-duty maintenance work. You know, years ago I got them and I did change a few oil filters, you know, change the oil on cars, things like that. I did change some brakes, you know, very, very limited light-duty stuff on personal things. So what I use these tools for, to be quite honest with you, I set them inside of my building where I had my lawn mowers, weed eaters, chainsaws, stuff like that. If I did projects on something, I had these tools available. That way I could easily reach over and grab it if I needed to turn a fastener. I didn't have to worry about it if somebody broke in, stealing my good quality tools. If they stole these, no big deal. It wasn't going to hurt me none. Inevitably, along the way, when I do have better quality tools and people come up to me and said, "Hey, Steve, do you got any tools we can borrow?" I said, "Yes, I do." I'd hand them this tool set right here. I'd let them borrow them and take them and do whatever they needed to do with them, and they'd return them to me. But I, in no way, shape, or form, depended on these tools for any type of serious repair. I rarely put any type of torque on this one particular wrench right here, and this is the 7/16, and it broke the jaw clean off. Now, I would expect it to break the jaws off if I put it on a rusted fastener. This was not put on a rusted fastener. It was basically put on a good fastener, had oil on it, grease on it, things like that. It was just over-torqued a little bit. When I put this on there, it broke the jaw clean off. The boxed in on these are actually the best part of the tool, and I really debated on using these, cutting them in half, and making them stubby wrenches. That way I could have them for job-specific stuff. I have some banger tools where I take a hammer and I beat on them and bang on them to prevent my good quality tools from getting busted up. There is certain tools out here I take to the junkyard. Some tools out here I like to cut in half, where I'll heat them with a torch and bend them around to fit specific jobs. Steel in these are very poor quality steel. It's very brittle. So I do not trust them for that type of work. Instead, I'm going to take these tools and I'm going to donate them to a specific factory. I get service calls all the time to come in and make repairs for different facilities. Whenever I come in certain facilities, it's the same old routine in those facilities that I do frequently. So I figured, hey, I could take these, I'll do a final review on them, give you my thoughts and opinions, and I'm going to donate them to that factory so they can keep them in one part of the building. So if somebody wants to walk off with these, it isn't going to be no big deal. Like I said, my overall experience with these, they're not very tough. Whenever I apply a whole bunch of pressure to them, the boxed end is really nice. I do prefer the way these boxed ends are made, the 12-point design that they have, because it has off corner loading. It loads right off to the corner. It fits nice and tight, gets a really good grip. But they are very, very thick. That is to compensate for the cheap quality metal that they had in India. Whenever they put these things inside the oven, it was basically like pulling a cake out before it was completely baked. The cake is just going to go flat in the middle. It's going to be gooey. It's not going to be no good. That's pretty well what they done to these wrenches right here. If you apply any type of torque to that boxed end, the boxed end holds up pretty decent. However, the body bends and flexes real horribly. And not everything that comes out of India is bad, at least not nowadays. You got tool brands out here such as Hyper Tough that's made in India, along with Performance Tool, a lot of the Wilmar Corporation stuff. Sunex, the brand new Cobalt line, is made in India. Now the one factor that they do have in common is the rust factor. They have improved from where they was a decade or two ago. Hyper Tough tools you can get down there at Walmart's made in India, and I have used and abused those things without any real problem as of now. Definitely tell that technology in the forging process has evolved over time. These do look awful. The rust is appearing on them. They got very, very poor chrome plating. Beneath the chrome plating, the metal quality is horrible. Such as right here on the 3/4. If you can see where I've got the 3/4 wrote onto the wrench right there, you can see beneath it where it's missing a big chunk of steel beneath the chrome plating there. It's just a very poor quality tool. One thing, like I said, I do like is how the 12-point design is made. That is a very nice 12-point design. So it will grip fasteners good, and it's going to do some type of jobs, but it's not going to be the best in the world. You got kids and you want to give them a tool set, let them play with it, learn how to work on things. You don't care if they get lost. That's what this type of stuff right here is used for. Now you can find these online still for about $18. I would not pay $18 for these. They're not worth it. Do not do it. If you find these in a yard sale, the whole set, I would buy them for about $5, just because I do have purposes. I do have tools that I use for different things. Like I said, I'm donating this entire set to that one specific factory. Right here is a raised panel Hyper Tough wrench versus the Power Kraft wrench. And you can tell that the Hyper Tough's not the greatest in the world, but this has been used and abused quite frequently. And the design on it is not nearly as bad as the Power Kraft. Now, the 12-point design is pretty decent on the Hyper Tough, and it is pretty decent there on the Power Kraft. India has definitely evolved on how they make tools as opposed to what they did years ago. This one is from Wilmar Corporation, and you can tell even beneath the paint that the body itself, there's no real imperfections beneath the steel, because they actually made these pretty decent. The boxed in is a different design than what the actual Power Kraft is here. Here's what the Hyper Tough solid chrome looks like. I have used and abused these since the day I reviewed them, and it is still a very nice, well put together, quality made tool for the price you're paying for them. What you get in today's age is much better as opposed to what you could get back in 1998. You can tell that it does grip on one side of the fastener as it goes around, but if it was to start slipping, it would round down on the edges of that fastener and it would strip it out quicker. You can see it does have a good grip here for the 11/16. The Hyper Tough that you are looking at, it does grip slightly better. It has two different points of contact right on the flat side, so whenever you was to apply torque to it, it's going to kick into that one corner, but the secondary point is not going to be that far off of the fastener itself. So you reduce the amount of actual rounding you might potentially do to these. Power Kraft, which is exactly why I do like the boxed inside of these. As you can see, it lays perfectly flat on each corner of the fastener. And whenever you go to apply torque to it, it is almost like it's flat on two different sides of each point on the fastener here. Getting all them points of contact right when you're applying torque, which reduces the amount of times you're going to round off the fastener. The open end jaw right here, the Hyper Tough, if you slide it on there, and it will rock back and forth just a little bit. Whenever it comes to the Wilmar brand, it's straight on. But whenever it comes to the Power Kraft, the the open end jaw right there is pretty tapered, so whenever you go to push it on, it's actually a little bit tight. When you pull it off, it's a little bit tight because of it being tapered right there on the corners, which means it's going to have a pretty decent grip whenever you go to clamp down on it, but it is such brittle steel that it just defeats the purpose. Alright, tool groupies, I know this was a little bit of an oddball video, but I did figure I might as well review them since I had them, and I am getting rid of these tools. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be getting rid of a lot of tools sometime soon. That way I can make way for better quality tools in my toolbox and give a final review on a lot of the cheaper stuff that I've tried out over the past year. I got a lot of tool reviews coming, just bear with me. I've been very sick as of late, and I've been very busy as of late, and it's kind of hard juggling all this stuff at one time. But if you want to see more content, just go over to Instagram and hit follow. Check out the new Facebook page, pop the clutch on that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.